Good evening. Welcome to Tuesday at Two Lines, guys. What is up? How's life? Hope you're doing well. Quick look at the chat. Looks like we've got lots of chatter in here. Jeez. Chris Fretter, DeFingers, John Tucci, Slot Car Daddy, Scott Marble, De Leon, Wildman, Curvy Road, John Albright, DeFingers, Shotgun Dave. Welcome, Dave. Who else do we have? Yeah, good crowd already. Scott is in the house. What's up, Scott? Hope you're doing well. We'll talk a little bit about Cincy slots tonight, Scott. I was looking at the list of cars that I need to buy. Bruce changed some of the classes around, so looks like I'm gonna have to do some more tuning. Let's see. Who else is in the house? Curvy. Yeah, guys. Good to have you. Hope everybody's, and away we go. That's right. Here we go. Hold on. Hey, Jeremy. Good to have you. Hey, Thomas. Hey, Pat. Excellent, guys. Roger Boyce. Welcome, Roger. Hey, Robert. Steve Sweeney is in the house. Slut Car Dojo. And there we go. And Dusty, who's buying cars? That's a great question. That's a good place to start. So, guys, welcome. Hopefully everybody's doing well. Try to give you a shout-out real quick. A lot to talk about. I don't know where we'll go tonight, but I hinted around in the description that for the last couple days I've been obsessed with 4-lane tracks layouts. So anybody have a 4-lane layout or knows of a great layout, send it my way. No, I'm joking. I love the designing part, but coming up with a good idea sometimes is a little tough. And so I was looking at, I have options. I could start over and go Polycar and order one of the 4-lane starter kits. And but the only problem I have with that is there is not a free design tool for Polycar, unlike Carrera. And I'm a planner. So if I just can't buy a bunch of track and try to come up with something. I've got to go in with a plan, because a half-built track waiting on a bunch of track to come in is not good for me. I would go crazy. So yeah, I really like to do, ultimately down the road, I would like to build a wood track, 4 to 6 lane. Ultimately, but that's down the road. We've been racing so much analog lately that I would love to be able to run 2 lanes digital and 4 lanes analog. Carrera would be great for that since I've already have a huge investment in Carrera. So I was looking at some designs. I'm limited to my space. I have a table that's 8 feet and 24 feet long. I can make that probably up to about, I can probably go up to 30 feet. Pretty close. At least 28. If I needed to. And I've got part of this room bumps out. You can't see it, but right there, just off camera, it drops back 2 feet that direction. So it widens out to about 14 feet wide here, but it's 12 feet wide back here where you see the track. So I'm limited to how wide I can go down there, but I can go a little wider here. I'm not afraid to add to the table if that's what I need to do. I would like to take away from the table and create some space around the track, around some turns and things, just to just to give us some more, make it feel like more space in the room and maybe places for marshals to stand. So I've spent the last probably week looking at different four lane designs and trying to come up with my own. Man, it's tough. So don't forget, if you have a question, throw a Q in front of it. That helps me do a search if I need to. Curvy had a 4 lane and went back to 2 lanes. So here's the thing why I think we would be good for 4 lanes, Curvy. I think that we've been racing a bunch of analog, and on Sunday nights when Dusty and John Mark come over, there's 3 of us. And I usually sit here and tune cars while those guys get laps in, because I can get laps in, pretty much every evening if I want. So that's kind of what I'm thinking. And then they would let us, if I host a race, I'm looking at hosting another house race in October. So yeah, we'll see how that goes. And then October brings on race season for a lot of tracks. Cincy Slots, the Hobby Shop in Dayton. I know that both of those start up here in a few weeks, or actually in about a week. And so that's exciting to see. So we'll also talk a little bit tonight about the classes at Cincy Slots that we will be tuning and prepping cars for. And I was out on the website today looking, and it looks like I'm short on some cars. So I'm going to have to the fingers, it happens. I'm going to have to order a couple cars. So Curvy, you went back to 2 lanes. I get it. You can have longer lane length. I mean, I think right now I'm 97. I'm just shy of 100 feet with this layout, and we love this layout. If I go to a 4-lane track, I'm looking at probably 60-foot lane lengths. So we lose about 30 feet on a lane. But being able to run 4 lanes would be fun. Greg, well, you asked, and now you will get lots of DMs on 4-lane tracks. Greg, I'm all up for it. I've found a handful. My problem is my space limitation. I'm limited to about 8 feet wide. I could stretch that out. The back corner back here, it edges out off the table about 6 inches, and we kind of build a little thing. So I've got some room to fudge on that 8 feet wide, as long as there are other sections that I might be able to cut the table out so that we can kind of get in around the track to help marshal. But yeah, I'm all about it, man. Thanks, Greg. When I was designing the 2, Jamie was a huge help putting this design together. Basically, he gave me a couple designs, and we married a couple of them together. I liked one end from one and one end from another, and I probably need to revisit those plans that he sent me, because I probably could look and see, if any of those could be converted to a 4-lane pretty quick. The problem is if you have a 5, if you have R15s or an R5 turn, you can only go inner. And so you can't have an inside turn as an R5 because nothing fits on the outside of that R5. Unless I'm mistaken, let me know. But I don't think there's anything bigger for Carrera. Let's see. A new schematic. John. Yeah, well, schematic, non-schematic. Tomato. Schematics, non-schematic. Hey, Jeff. Welcome. Good to have you. Did I see Eric in here? I see somebody said hello. Hello. What's up, Eric? Good to have you, Eric Tucker. Daniel Thomas. So yeah, Marty, spend the money on doing wood instead of polycar. Yeah, man, we had so much fun on Butch's wood track. If I could figure out how to have 2 tracks down here, I just don't have enough ceiling height, I don't think, to elevate one. Although this one's pretty flat. So you could pull the bridge out and lay it flat and raise this up, but the wood track would have to sit pretty low to the ground so that you have room. I just don't think there's room to do that. In my attic, yes. Problem with the attic is there's no AC or heat. So there's heat in the summer and AC in the winter. So it's not a heated space. But DeFingers, I agree. The Polycar, I think, is an inexpensive way to get into the 4-lane with the starter kit. But again, there's no way to plan out Polycar. There's some software out there that you can buy, and it's like $40 or $50, and I'm like, if I'm spending $50, I need a track timer. I need to spend money on things like that, not software to design. And there are maybe 5 or 6 Polycar plans out there on the internet. So, Blind Dog. Marty, check with Gulf Coast Speedway in Venice, Florida. They run a 4-lane layout in a garage that has a C, and everybody's from one to the other. Cool. Blind Dog, I will check that. Gulf Coast Speedway. Thanks for the recommendation. There's Eric Tucker. Hey, welcome, Eric. I've got some wood track plans for you. I'm not opposed to that. I'm a woodworker, so I'm not scared of building a wood track. So yeah, if the right plan, well, here, Greg Butch sent me a picture of his other wood track that he sold to build his present track. And I was actually last night, I struggled to sleep a little bit. As you guys know, our buddy John Mark had surgery, and everything went well. He's home recovering. All is good. But he'll be sore for a little bit. But he's doing well. But I didn't sleep great last night, and so I was up half the night designing tracks. And so I tried to recreate Butch's in Carrera. Next to impossible. I can get something sort of similar, but nothing close. Just you can't make Carrera track do what Butch's track does. But his first track was pretty sweet, except for that it had a big blind, not a big blind spot. It had one blind spot where that turn tucked underneath. But really, it was an 8x24 footprint, so perfect for my space. So, but I never ran on it. So, love to know your opinion on that track. I'm sure you ran on it. Slot Car Dojo, less is more. Less is more. Yeah, I guess. You're right. Let's see. Anybody else? Tell Dusty Carrera got a new NASCAR license. Yeah, I saw that today. Dave Kennedy announced that, and that's pretty cool. Good for Carrera. And so maybe we'll start seeing some current NASCAR shapes, car bodies, liveries. That would be fantastic for those of you guys that like the NASCAR stuff. I like NASCAR, but I don't have any NASCAR slot cars because I'm not really into the oval. Probably because I don't have an oval. That was one of the things. If I built a wood track, I was like, ooh, I could build a oval wood track and then have the Carrera be my road course. Let's see, what else do we have? Hey, Anthony G. Welcome. You're amongst friends here. Marty, what a shame you need to order new cars. Jeff. Yeah, I know. Daggone it. But that means I've got to tune more cars. Don, welcome. Josh Reed is in the house. So yeah, Josh, you've been here to the layout. I've been talking about a 4-lane. Yeah, space restrictions can be a killer. Like I would have 0 restrictions in the attic. The attic is a gigantic room. I probably couldn't fit a king track. I don't know. It'd be pretty close. I bet if I situated it properly, I could probably fit a King, one of the American Modeler King tracks. And that's a big track. Sunday slot cars. My goodness, my 4 lanes are 5 and 6, but Marty is worried 8 foot isn't enough. I'm not saying it's not enough. I'm just saying, Billy, I'm struggling to find like a lot of them out there in that size range. I want to have a good plan so that I know what track I need, so I can get the track ordered, the additional pieces. I mean, I've got a pretty good selection of track, but I'm going to need some straights. I'm probably going to need about 40 straights to add to my existing track. And then probably a bunch of 230s, R2 turns too. I'm probably going to need 10 or 12 additional with most of the stuff that I've been designing. So, yeah, I'm not worried. I know that I could put a track 24 feet long, 8 feet wide, 4 lane. But we have such a great layout. I hate to lose this layout, and that almost 100 feet lane length is really kind of fun and nice. So I know that I won't have that, but it'd be nice to get fairly close. I would like to get 60, 65 foot lane length. Marty, you will need to make sure your lane length is close to equal and or after each heat, you guys switch lanes. Yeah, Kirby, we've been doing round robin stuff, so where you just run, there's a rotation of lanes. I'd probably run it just like Butch did. It was so smooth how he ran his race. And just like Bruce does at Cincy Slots, there's just only 2 lanes there, so it's really simple. You come in on blue and out on white. I can't remember what his lane colors are. So with Butch's 6 lanes, you came in on 1 and you rotated through the lanes with 6 lanes. But I think it'd just be fun, and it change it up. We haven't been at this layout for a year yet, and I would meticulously mark and document. I've got the plan for this layout, because if we ever went back to 2 lanes, this is the layout. Maybe a couple little changes, but this is a fun layout. We really like it. Daniel Thomas question: how do you guys measure your track for the Smart Race app? So Daniel, how I do it is I recreate my my track in a program which is actually web-based, called Softy. What is it called? It is softyroyal.de. It's a German site, SOFTY ROYAL.de, and it's a Carrera planning software. It's great. It's free. It's well done. I can send a link to my existing layout to people, which makes it really nice. Then they can manipulate it however they want. I've probably sent my existing layout. I've probably sent that link out to 60 people. People really like it, and if they raced on it, they probably would. So that's how I measure it. So Daniel, in that software or on that website, when you lay out your track, it gives you the lane length in centimeters, and you just type that in right into Smart Race. So that's how I measure. Now, if I didn't do that, you would basically. That's a good question. I don't know exactly how the best way to measure lane length if you didn't recreate it. Tape measure, I guess, and string. That's probably. Yeah, Kirby, I would try to get the lane length as close as possible. I am not afraid to have an overpass, and that always helps create equal lane length. It doesn't mean that they'll be as fast. Some lanes will always be faster than others, but yeah, I would try to keep the lane length as close as I can. Slot Car 2021, hey, what's up? You might lose some length, but the competition will be faster and more furious. Yeah, John, and that's why I think it would be fun. It would be great to do some analog racing with just me and John Mark and Dusty. And when Daryl comes over or Josh comes over, then we'd have 4 lanes. If I host a race, then guys are getting to run four heats in a set. So I think it would be fun. So yeah, losing some lane length, I'm not concerned about that. I just don't want it to be like 40 feet lane lengths. If I can get into the 60s, I think it'll be good. I've got a few plans that I did that are not bad, and they're all in the high 50s, low 60s. But I'll keep designing. I haven't quite figured it out. I'm curious to know the Electric Dreams, the new Polycar track. I kind of like that modified figure 8 because it would work well in an 8-foot wide table. But again, the geometry is different with Polycar versus Carrera, and you can do some things that you can't do. You guys know that I'm not a big fan of R1 turns. I jokingly say that. I'm not opposed to R1 turns. I was in this layout. I had a lot of R15, like R5s, R4s, R4s, R3s, R2s. And I tried to use a lot of those. But with 4 lanes, there's no way of getting around that. And that's not a problem. But I do want to stay away from the very, if I look at a lot of European layouts, there's lots of straights with sharp turns, like lots of 90-degree turns, and I'm trying to stay away from some of that. So yeah, may not be the best time to premiere a video when Marty is on. Who's premiering a video? So, hey, Mad P, welcome. Chris Frederick, question. So are you going to stick with Carrera or try Polycar's 4-lane track? Chris, I'm talking myself out of the Polycar. I think Polycar is the right price. I think I'll probably have about as much invested in adding track to this Carrera track as I will starting new with Polycar. Plus, I like the grip. I'm really curious about the grip with Polycar track. I'm very intrigued by it. And I thought about just buying one of the starter kits just to have a simple figure 8 type of layout with it and just to test it out. Actually, I've sent messages to Polycar and I was like, hey, I would love to test out your starter kit. I guarantee you I would give you some great publicity with it. I would give a great review. Maybe I'd hate it, I guess. But I mean, I would just I'll test it out. I'll send it back to you. I've reached out to them a couple times and they asked where I lived and for my address, and I've not heard anything back. So, and that's all right. They've got lots of people. I noticed they took care of Pete and his home track. And so Pete will do an awesome review of that for them and really share with his people about the track. So that's not, yeah. So no, I'm not bailing on the Carrera. I think I've decided that if I'm going to go 4 lanes, I'm either going to build a wood track or go 4-lane on a Carrera. Let's see here. Slot Car Daddy. Hey, Marty, make your existing track mobile and raised to the ceiling, build a permanent wood track below, and then you can, yeah, my problem is I don't have tons of ceiling height. I'm in the basement, Slot Car Daddy. And that's the big problem is I don't know. I mean, that's a big table to try to get up, and I just don't know how much ceiling I would lose. And the wood track would be pretty low to the floor. Not that that's a problem, but it might be tough to do that in here. Hey, Gary Dunmore is in the house. Pat. Yeah, you were thinking that too. Yeah, it's a great idea. I'll take some measurements to see how, converting the top of this table into that and like what kind of room I would need for pulleys and all the things that it would take to do that. And non-track schematic. That's great. I'm at the track getting a jump on the next race. Pat, nice. Enjoy, man. You should be racing, not watching this live stream, unless you have us up on the screen. I would go 4-lane Carrera with 2 lanes being digital until you go wood. There's a lot invested in your track. Yeah, Dojo, that's, I'm not a wasteful person, so we would definitely not leave the Carrera packed in a box. I just couldn't do that. We've got too much invested in it, and it's a great layout. Just really happy with the layout. So yeah, I think I'm kind of leaning that way. And who knows? Greg starts sending me wood track designs. I may get started this weekend. Wouldn't a wood track design get old after a while? Like a couple years, it seems to me that with a woody, you're locked in to a single design. Yeah, Scott, you are locked into a single design. You have to be committed. That's why it would be very difficult for me to make a decision on what that layout looks like. But I will tell you, after racing on a wood track, yeah, I've got a couple hundred laps in at Butch's track. Not tired of that track. It's such a nice track, and I think that's what you get when you invest in a wood track. You've really thought out the layout, and you know that you're stuck with it, and I think that's okay. But the beauty of Carrera, Polycar, all of them, you can change it up if you like. That is the beauty of plastic track. Let's see, George, you need the Maverick that was posted in the chat. That's right, and we'll make about 500 copies of it, George. That model kit is expensive, man. And everywhere I look for, all those Maverick model kits are really expensive. Gene, Marty, does it make sense to go Polycar when you eventually are going to talk yourself into a wood track? Yeah, Gene, that's why we're talking about it tonight. So you guys can keep me on the straight and narrow. I'm an ideas guy. I have a million ideas. My brother Dusty can tell you that. I love to dream about ideas and like just expand on things and start with an idea and just grow them and brainstorm, and that's what I do. That's what I love to do. So yeah, Gene, you guys, your job is to remind me that I've got a bunch of money in a Carrera track behind me. So the smart move would be to convert that to a 4-lane, or eventually build a wood track. And if I build the wood track, I probably would build it upstairs in the attic, and then eventually figure out how to heat and cool that space. It's not horrible up there, but it could be uncomfortable. And it's some weight up there that I don't know that I necessarily need up there. And foot traffic tends to cause plaster to crack. So yeah, have to think about that a little bit too. Yeah, thanks, Gene. Thanks for keeping me on the straight and narrow. Hey, George, welcome, man. Glad to have you tonight. Hey, Greg. Softy Wren. The track planner will tell you the lane length. Yes. Yeah. Yeah, Softy Royal, I think is what you mean, Greg. Copy. Paste. There you go. There is the link to the web page that you can do that on. I think Hey, Tom, welcome. Love my Polycar 4-lane. Made a huge 2-lane out of it for now. Advantage of getting the 4-lane analog is you can run just about any car out there without chips. Yep. That's why I built the converter box, so I could use my analog controller. Measuring wheel. Yeah, I mean, do they make a small measuring wheel? I'm sure they do, right? I was thinking about one of the big ones that you like measure property with. I guess that would work. Andrea, I hosted my first race last weekend on Carrera 132, 17 meters. Great experience, mayhem at first, but it got better. Definitely have to get some borders. Drivers were abusing the guardrails. Andrea, we talked about that a couple weeks ago, right? Guardrails, you'll learn to lean on them, and they'll keep a car in the slot and allow you to get around the turn much faster. So, yeah, it's all good though. I'm glad you had a great time. Glad you had a good time. Used measuring to figure out my lane length after my track was built. Have never used a planner. Yeah, I mean, I know if you have enough track, you just start laying it down, right? And eventually it meets up with the other end. And that's fun, but I really like to visualize. So that's what I love about a planner is I can really figure out what I need so I have it all. No, I'm not laughing. You're right. It's very accurate. Scott, you use the Auto Run Bond Planner and Ultimate Racer 3 for software. Cool. I have not tried Ultimate Racer 3. I did some testing with Race Coordinator and I really liked it. But then Butch has Lap Master, and that's what they used for the USA Nationals. Man, that software is nice. That's really, really good. Yes, good news today. Sounds like a good software, Marty. Yeah, Dave, I'm not sure if you're familiar with it. I put a link in there. It really is very handy. I use it all the time, and you can save. So as long as you don't delete your cookies out of your browser, you can save your designs and then go back and rework them if you need to, and it will give you like the total track pieces that you need for that design. You can turn on the colors. It's in German, but if you use, you can translate whether you're in Safari or Chrome or whatever. So, yeah. But thanks for sharing the news about Carrera today, Dave. Thanks. Good stuff. Let's see. Yeah, that was good news. NASCAR will be very popular, especially in the States. I don't know how popular NASCAR is in Europe, but the Europeans tend to like our politics. I'm wondering if they like our racing too. I don't know. I know some Europeans that are more in tune with the politics of the United States than I am. So, excuse me. Marty, have you had any of the new Gecko 124 cars or know anything about them? Are they set up for wood tracks at Raceway? Tom, I have not. I don't know anything about the Gecko 124 cars. Are those commercial track cars? I'd have to look them up. I will look for them. For rally, otherwise not great. Cliff, hey guys, games got canceled tonight. Finally able to check in live. Welcome, Cliff. Glad you're here. Let's see. Yeah. Oh, I got behind. Dang it. I was keeping up with the. Andrea hosted her first race. Barry Racing Club's in the house. So yeah, we're talking about four lane tracks. Does anybody have a 4-lane track at home right now? It sounds like most of us are 2-lane. Dave, what is your wood track? Is your wood track a 2-lane wood track? Dave Kennedy, or is it a 3-lane, 4-lane? Just curious. I'm not seeing pictures of it. I know that you said you about have it ready to show on camera, so I look forward to that. What else? Wonder how hard it would be to build a hill climb type track out of Carrera track, or if it's possible. So John Albright, yes, you could build hill climb. I just don't think you can have super extreme. You would probably have to do some massaging of the track a little bit with length. If you have a big, tall track. I designed a track that's similar to Butch's, and Butch's is a hill climb wood track. And then I also played around with the Electric Dreams track a little bit as a 4-lane Carrera, and there's just things you can do with a wood track that you can't do in plastic. So, but I think you could create something similar to hill climb. Are you talking about like a standard hill climb, or are you talking about like a rally where you go up and back down? Yeah, I don't know about that. You prefer Carrera still? Also, 4-lane polycar comes with all the borders as well. Yeah, Tom, it's a great kit. The polycar kits are fantastic. If I were going to go polycar, I would probably pick up a couple of those. And I think if I picked up 2 of the big kits, I could probably make a nice layout, or maybe even 1 of each. It would be great if polycar made some designs. It said, hey, if you use this kit and this kit, you can make this design, and have a few options. Because that was one of the things when I was a kid, my slot car track, like the box had, multiple layouts that you could build with the track pieces that came in it, with it. And so, it would be just some nice idea starters. So I know that 132 Slot Cars, that website, in their description of the polycar kits, they said that they were going to post some designs for converting them from 4-lane to 2-lane, and using them as a large 2-lane starter set. But they've never posted any that I've found. So, Scott Marble, Marty, would oval track in attic with space heater in winter, Carrera track in basement, cool in summer. Yeah, Scott. And I could build a large oval in the in the attic. And you're right. Yeah, space heater. I could put a kerosene heater or something up there and not have any issues. It would probably heat the whole space. Just that beautiful track, and just visit the woods for your fix. That's what I did last week. I went hiking, a little bit of the hit a little portion of the Appalachian Trail, then to the top of Mount LeConte. So I got some nature. There's my fix. Curvy, my garage is kind of small. It's 24 by 22 exterior dimensions, and it has an old Volkswagen Beetle in it and my wife's car. So that might be a tough argument. DNA, welcome. Sorry I'm late. Gladstone. Marty, you have a track many of us would kill for, no need to change anything. Well, Gladstone, I appreciate that. Thanks. I can always rebuild this, but I would like to play around with a 4-lane track. Cork flooring attic. No, I don't have cork flooring. I do have subfloor that's finished. So it has it's not really hardwood floor. It's probably plywood, but it is finished, painted. So it's pretty easy to clean and take care of. Barry's getting the axle box. Nice. Barry, you will love the fact that you can flip from digital to analog. That's good stuff. Pat, Marty, design and build a wood track. Carreras has been good till now, but it's time wood tracks are on the top of the chain. Yeah, Pat, we just had so much fun at Butch's wood track. It kind of gets in your blood a little bit. It's a lot of fun. There's a guy here not in my neighborhood, but in town, that has one of the old orange, I think they're called the Monarch, in his garage. And I would love to see that thing set back up someplace and brought back to life. He said it's in pieces in his garage. And so I have this kind of dream of having a club track someplace, and it would probably be a wood track. Daryl Rogers is in the house. Hey, Daryl's getting some laps in. Now, Daryl, were you tuning or were you actually practicing? Were you actually getting laps in? Because that's the key. You spend so much time tuning other people's cars that you don't get as many laps in as you need. Scott, Marty, do you have video showing how to isolate the Carrera track for analog conversion? Scott, I do. The title of that video is something like "I screwed up my tech slot box" or Georgia's tech slot box. So in that, I show you how to isolate and test to make sure that your lanes are isolated. So, and then DNA posted a video of Sasha testing the track to make sure that there's continuity and that they were isolated. So you could watch one of that DNA's. It was his video on the Omni slot box. So, but it's the same thing. Yeah, Scott, just send me an email if you have any other questions. I can talk you through it. It's not complicated. There you go. John Albright always has the answer. Always. 4-inch wheel, telescoping handle. Probably could pick that up at Harbor Freight. Chris, don't you worry. We'll get to the roast coffee. I'm actually out of coffee beans. I need to go pick up some roast beans. But somebody will go home. We'll get some. Gary Dunmore is getting beans delivered soon. I gave Trent his address the other day. So hopefully he's getting that soon. Yeah, the planner is great. Happy to help. Hope you enjoy it. I use it a lot. I use it a lot. Let's see here. Working on the track software now, Marty, at the same time as watching this. Yeah, Daniel. If you are Carrera design Carrera tracks, it's fantastic. Hey, Dusty, thanks. Appreciate the post. So does Trent. Yeah, don't forget, if you use the code 2 lines, you get 25% off your first purchase from roastcoffee.com. Rost is a fantastic sponsor of the channel. Trent is a fantastic guy. We've talked about setting my track up in the coffee shop as kind of like a show and tell kind of thing, and letting people just to kind of spread the word about it, and then maybe host a race after hours. So I need to have a conversation with him, but I'm thinking about possibly trying to make that happen in October. So it would be like the week of, so that weekend of, well, it's probably the weekend before the NSR Eastern Nationals at Cloverleaf. So more to come on that, but I really have to have a conversation with Trent first to see if that's still a possibility. What else do we have? Good to be on. Need to send you some pictures of final layout. Yeah, Cliff, we'd love to see your layout. Always. So Dave, yours is 3 lanes. See, now I think in my space, 3 lanes would actually be perfect from a wood track standpoint. And I've seen a handful of really cool 3-lane designs. So that might be an option. But I think with my space, I could probably squeeze 4 lanes in and still have nice lane width. So I need to start drawing some things out. That's where, like, there's no planing software for wood tracks. It's pencil and paper and ruler and compass. So that one is going to take me a bit of time to actually. So Greg, you have a 4-lane wood track at home? That's cool. Very cool. Or are you 4-lane plastic at home? Are you Carrera? Bruce has a 4-lane Carrera track at home. It's a fantastic layout, and that's a fun drive. But I think it's not quite 24 wide. I think it's 22 wide and about 10, or 22 long and 10 wide. He's a couple feet wider. So it allows him to do a few things that I can't squeeze onto my layout. Gary, I probably would run 2 lanes digital, 4 lanes analog. I don't think I would try to make it 4 lanes of digital. But it's not out of the realm of possibilities. I just, yeah, I think I would. That's how I would roll. Hey, Jamie, what's up, man? We've been talking about track design. I'm thinking about a 4 lane. Oh, you probably picked up on that since I'm really late and behind on the DNA. I purchased the smaller 4 lane and it comes with a lot. Issue I don't like is no other layout configurations to look at. Yeah, Tom, that's what I was saying is like, Polycar, if you're listening, if you send me one, I will design like 3 or 4 layouts based on what comes in that kit, if it's possible, and post them for you. Sorry, that's just my plug. But yeah, that would be fun because I love the design process, and Jamie, Jamie B on here has a great eye for track design, so he was influential on this layout with some modifications that I made and some recommendations that Dave Slot R noticed and he thought that I might like, and we kind of combined them all, and somehow the ends met up where they needed to be, which is where the planning software came into play. Let's see here. What else am I missing? I had to go on a Polycar track at UK Slot Fest. Very nice track. I now have Pete's Polycar set on loan. Nice. That's cool. You mean his little test track that they sent him, the little drift track? Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, I mean, Dave Kennedy raves about the grip that it has. Dave's got a great layout. It looks like it would be a lot of fun to put some laps on. So it would be fun to try. It really would. Let's see. Catch up here. They come with optional electric heating element. Oh, you guys are talking about mini splits. We got some HVAC guys in the house trying to figure out how to heat and cool my attic. I should show you a picture of my attic. I don't think I have one on my computer that I can put up here, but I'll post a picture so you can see what kind of space I'm dealing with. I think a lot of guys would be envious. It's pretty massive. That's what you get with old post and beam construction of an old house. Marty, it's a lot of weight when 4 or 5 guys are standing in a circle looking at something cool. Yeah, Don, I agree. And my wife would be upset with cracks in the plaster. So yeah, that's the only issue. Gary, you saw the Omnibox. Yeah, it's a great video. DNA did a great job. Steve, there's a place for plastic track. There needs to be a Carrera national event. Everyone has it, and it would be way easier to test and tune at home. Steve, you are correct. It's what got me on my track. I have a feeling this should run pretty good at Bruce's. When I got to the wood track, the front end was not set up right. It was still fast, but it came out of the slot a lot because any mistake I made, I was out because the front end wasn't right. And I didn't have time to tweak it and get enough laps in. So, but you're right. It would be great. I mean, NSR does that, and their NSR nationals are on in Europe are on tracks that they bring in. I think they're Ninko tracks. I could see people moving to the big scale auto stuff for things like that. That's why I asked Dave Kennedy in his stream in the news last week. It was like, do any of these companies have like a rental for these big events, or does somebody own all those tracks? Because it would be great to like host an event someplace and build a track on site. But holy cow, to build a track worthy of, like a regional or national level. I mean, you're talking a couple $3,000, and like for a couple of days, just you can't. One person can't do that. So, but I agree, Steve. I think it would be great to have a Carrera-based event like that. And Dave can tell you all the reasons why they don't do it. He's probably talked about that till he was blue in the face. It doesn't make them any money, and they're at a place in their business model where they can't spend money on things like that. But it's cool to see NSR is hosting the Eastern Nationals at Cloverleaf in October. So that's really cool. But that'll be on a wood track at Cloverleaf. I think it's a 4-lane wood track. George, you're the man. You're a good dude. Thanks for tracking that down. Yeah, that's a funny video. I make fun of myself. I got a phone call from George after I posted that video. He's like, "Dude, it's okay." Talking me off the ledge. Yeah, the Omnibox, great product, man. Analog Courier, of course. Yeah, Steve, I got you. I was tracking. Bo, good morning. Welcome. Yeah, Gary, hopefully you get it the next day or so. It all depends on his roasting cycle. So he sends all of his online orders out on like the same day of the week. So I sent him all the information there earlier, and so hopefully you get it soon. There was a yearly event years ago in New Jersey on a Carrera track. That's cool. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. There's not a lot of club tracks, I guess. And they would, if you had a national type event, it would need to be a pretty big track, I would say. I mean, I think you can go 6 lanes with Carrera. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think you can go up to 6 lanes. But with its geometry, you don't have, when you're doing multiple lanes, there's no such thing as like varying radius turns. You don't have the selection of track to make it, so it turns into a lot of similar turns. But it would have to be a big track to host something like that. Could imagine trying to do a national event with 2 lanes. Wood track at Roast Coffee. Woohoo! That would be good. Greg, you need to come to our track and to run some laps. Greg would show us how to get around this track, Dusty. He and Josh, Daryl, they come in, they break the track records. Those guys are fast guys. I'm looking at sheds to buy for a hobby hut. That's a great way to go. I'm kind of landlocked. I don't have a lot of space. I do have room. It would just look probably not, my wife would probably not be super happy with the look in the backyard, but I could put a shed that was about 12 to 14 feet wide. So maybe 16 feet wide on one side, but it would be right up against my garage. And then I would have room to go, like 30 feet or so if I wanted to. But yeah, the shed is the way to go. I think 3 lanes is a perfect number. Might need 2 Daryl for this season. I missed what Daryl said. Daryl, tuning Marty needs to take driving lessons from you and Dusty and John Mark. That's funny. I kind of doubt that. Oh, so Greg, you are a 4-lane Skeletric. That's cool. Yeah, Gladstone wood track costs about $1,000. I guess it depends on how big of a wood track and how fancy you get. But yeah, I think that I could probably build what I want for about $1,500. It wouldn't be super high finish level like on the outside. That could come later. But the track surface and elevation and things, great minds, Dusty. What did Dusty say? Oh, about the 3 lanes. Got it. Cincy slot rods. It's an old Cincy slot league track from a few years ago. Oh, that's cool. Yeah, we kind of missed out on that. Although everybody's been going to Bernie's every other weekend, so I hate that. Man, I've had a conflict every time he's raced. I feel awful. And Bernie's been down to my track. I owe him. I need to go put some laps in on his. Ask Electric Dreams, they are distributors for Polycar. Is that what you're asking? Is that what you're saying? Dave, don't drop my name again. Dave, I'd never drop your name. I am not that kind of guy. I would not do that. But that's funny that you say that. Oh, extra Polycar. That's cool. If I started with a starter set, and then came up with a design, I think it would be fun to do. But again, you got to find space for it. I've got a couple more rooms down here in the basement, but none of them are as big as this space. Maybe we'll just drive to Dave's to check out his track. There you go. Hit me up with any ideas in your space, and I can try to throw something together for you. Jamie, I've drawn up, like, I don't know, 5 or 6 different designs for 4-lane, and they all end up looking similar. It'd be great to like find a couple of really cool layouts online to kind of give you a base level to start. Wood requires more maintenance. I could see that. Just take care of it like anything. I did that with Carrera at NASCAR race at Homestead. Yeah, Dave, you talked about a lot of the different events that you did. You guys Carrera used to be really big into doing those events, and that was probably all driven by you here in the U.S. I was the one that did that, Marty. I put on several big events for Carrera. There, see, I'm catching up. I'm catching up. Marty, you better come up north with us for the NSR Nationals. So, Josh, I don't know if I could be there for both days. So, like, it's Saturday and Sunday, right? And like practice on Friday. I need to look at that. The only maybe I could come up for Saturday. It's about a 4.5 hour drive from here, and so maybe if I get up early and go, I could do some coverage for the channel and create some content. But I really have no business racing in an event like that. Josh, you and I have talked about that. Both surfaces are great as long as you have home track to race on. Yeah, George, I would see you disagreeing with that. George built a great wood track at home. I think that you can build a small, manageable wood track pretty easy. I mean, George made 3 or 4 videos, actually probably more than that, of his track build. Harry has a video of his track build. Butch's track build is on Home Racing World, chronicled with pictures. I think there are lots of people who might have like wood tracks at home. I think it's pretty cool. Yeah, there are some guys from our area headed up there, Scott. We could do the Nationals at Steve's. He has the longest career track I've ever seen. Steve does have a pretty big track. Hey, grandson of man, never late, man. Don't you worry. So Patrick went out and checked out the Gecko cars. And looks like I'm gonna have to check those out. I don't know anything about them. So, Josh, you've raced with Scott. Scott comes to Cincy Slots. He and races. He was new this last season with us. He was there the first night we were there, I think, but I think that was his second night there. I have an awesome place that would host an epic race, the Viper Pit in Thomasville, Georgia. Yeah, Tom, the pictures of that are amazing. They have like 4 tracks. what a space. Just it looks like a museum for slot car tracks of old, but they all look like they're in fantastic shape. They just had a pinball convention in Cleveland where pinball owners brought in their machines and you could play everyone's pinball machine. Imagine if they could do that with slot car tracks. Yeah, they're so hard to move, Rob. So, Rob, we have one block from my house is a place called the Antique Emporium, and the guy that owns it, Brian, has been buying pinball machines and repairing them, and now has close to 30 pinball machines in his own arcade in the Antique Emporium in Chillicothe. Plus, he's got like Defender and Donkey Kong and Track and Field and all these great 80s video games. It's a fantastic arcade. I hit it up at least every couple weeks and spend the quarters that I have in my pocket. Yeah, anytime, Greg. Anytime. Just did the math. Combining two of the Polycar, the 9.2 meter track sets would give you a hair over 60 feet for $1,000. I mean, that's pretty good. That's not a bad price at all, John. I've done the same thing. The problem is I'm trying to wrap my mind around like the pieces that you get with that, because it comes with R2 and R3 turns, and so I think that you would need probably R4, R5s, or R1s, to make a larger layout. So that's where the planning software would really help, especially with the multiple lanes. So, yeah. But yeah, that's a big, that's about 60 feet of lane length. That's pretty impressive. Let's see here. Rob just bought a shed, 12 by 10. Nice. Are you going to move your track out there, Rob? Yeah, Josh, you need to. Josh, you mentioned that you're going to be in Logan. I don't know what your schedule looks like. We live stream on Tuesday, and then if you come back on Sunday, so I don't know if you drive there on Sunday nights, but you could stop over here on Sunday night. We're usually most of the time on the track, at least every other Sunday. Bryce, just had to move my Carrera track back in the garage. Happy spouse, happy house. Yeah, is it in a box in the garage, Bryce, or did you get to set it up in the garage? That's the key right there. There you go. Yeah, you know Scott. You've raced with him before. Yeah, Slot Car 2021. We get it, man. It's late over there. Good night. Greg, I know after I said it, Weekend at Bernie's popped into my head. I thought I would slide right on by that without anybody noticing, but I'm glad somebody did. We're invited. Dave, we definitely do need to. I would love to meet up with you at some point. At least have coffee or have drinks or something. Grab dinner, grab some pizza or something, just to catch up. It'd be a good time. Two Lines visit Slot Car News. That'd be a great live stream. Dave and I have already had a live stream together. It was really good. It's got a lot of views. Still continues to get views. I really need to make it out to your track. Jamie, you do. Jamie, I mentioned earlier, probably before you were on, that I'm planning a race day in October. I'll get more information out so that's not last minute, but probably the weekend before the NSR Nationals. I forget what that is. It's like the 20th, 21st. So it's probably going to be a Sunday. That might work out better, Sunday afternoon, evening. I got my wife is taking a trip, and so we're kind of working through that. So, yeah. So I'll let you know. Let's see. Gosh, what time is it? 9:03. Wow. So we'll move on past the conversation about the track. But that was great. Lots of hey, Kerry Weiss. I just saw your name as I flew by through the. Thanks for joining tonight. It's really great track. You like my edit there? I think it could do a regional event, no problem. There you go, Steve. Just let us know. We'll try to be there. Every time I sit in and listen to these broadcasts, I go into changing layout mode with my current. Sorry, Donald. That's funny. Yes, Grandson of Man. It is quite amazing. And the arcade here in Chillicothe rivals that. Like he has, I think, 30 pinball machines of all ages and varieties. But yeah, the Vegas Pinball Museum is pretty awesome. Hey, show me. Pat, how are you, man? No worries about being late. Yep, I get that. Yeah, Steve, you're not that far from us. I think we could be there in less than 4 hours. I was just near you 2 weekends ago. The shed is for the stuff I moved out of the garage. That's good. That's what I was wondering, because that's probably what we'll do. I'll be down to take Chillicothe route out this Sunday, currently sitting in my hotel room watching the stream. Okay. Great. Let's see. Where is the NSR Nationals? They're the Eastern Nationals, and they're at Cloverleaf in Michigan, which is near Detroit. Hey, Jay. What's it? Welcome. Bryce is the man with the camera. Yes. New short up on your channel. Cool. Everybody go out there and check out Bryce's channel. You can wait till after the live stream. So the next thing I want to talk about is the schedule at Cincy Slots. Bruce has released the schedule. He released it a while back, but there have been some slight changes. So let me see if I can. Oh, I could probably do it this way. Okay, Bruce. Okay. So let's do this. Man, I got a bunch of windows open. Let's change the scene to the web browser. There you go. Okay. So this is what the schedule looks like for Cincy Slots. And the reason why I'm sharing this is I was looking at what cars that I had and what cars that I'm going to need to purchase to fill in. Now, we don't make it every week. Cincy Slots is just right at 2 hour drive from my house, just shy of 2 hours. And so we try to make it down about once or twice a month. So in October, he'll be running 2 classes of analog this year. So we have the Group C. I can't move that over. Hang on. Maybe I can. Maybe I can make it a little smaller. Nope. So Group C, which will be slotted Group C, and Sideways Group 5. So we'll be running 2 analog classes. And so if you guys were running in this, I know there are a few of you, what would be your go-to Group C car slot in the slotted Group C class? And then the Sideways Group 5, you have a lot of selection there from a car standpoint. So what would be your go-to car for that class? And I was looking at what cars I have. So for slotted Group C, I have the Porsche 962 Fat Turbo, and I have the Porsche 962 Hexcel. So I've got 2 cars tuned. I like to have a backup car in case something crazy happens. And then for Sideways Group 5, I've got my Nissan Skyline, which I actually have a part at the moment, just giving it a good cleaning and making sure everything is in order. And then I have my BMW M1. And Dave, you mentioned on my M1 to make sure that I have a little bit of movement in that front axle. And I do. That car just does not want to stay in the slot. The front end is, I mean, I've got it set up exactly like the Skyline. The Skyline, I really have to force it out. But the M1 just doesn't want to stay in the slot. It's very tail happy, and I can't seem to straighten that out. I've made adjustments to the chassis. I've moved weight all around. I actually had somebody else tune the car for me, just trying to take a look at it. I was going to send it to John Albright, but I keep thinking, I'm like, I don't want to send him this car that I have not been able to get tuned. I think my pride got in the way, John. So what are you guys running in those? But then I look, and so November it's vintage. And so for vintage, I've got my Thunderslot McLaren, the M6A. I've got the Elva. I've got the NSR 908, one of my favorite cars of all time. This thing's just, the crap's been beat out of it. I have lots of choices when it comes to the vintage class. So I've got an NSR GT40. I've got a slotted GT40. So lots of choices when it comes to the vintage class in November. And then in November, we'll do a digital class as well. And so I need a digital 124 scale GT car. Carrera. These will be Carrera digitals. Any recommendations on the GT car? Give me something in the chat. So, and then we move into December, and it's Revo Slot GT. Now I guess I do have a Revo Slot GT. I've got the Porsche, the Repsol two-toned Porsche. I can run that, but I also have the Ferrari. I have the Ferrari, and it doesn't qualify for GT. So I'm really got my eye on the new Revo Mercedes coming out, and I pre-ordered one, and then that Pro Marked yellow livery is jumping out at me, so I may have to either order another one or change my pre-order. So maybe they'll let me do that. So what would you run in your Revo Slot GT class? So I don't know. I need to look at what else? What do we got? Josh, for Group C, it's your Porsche 962, mainly because it's my only one. And then, that's your only Group C car? Gotcha. And then for your Group 5, that Toyota Celica is fast. It is very fast. So, yeah. So, Josh, you would run the 962. Anybody else? We are about 12-hour drive. Yeah, Tom, you got a long drive. Yeah, we're at least 3 hours from Steve's. All right. So, anybody else? Send it. Mine ran great, and I'd like to see what's going on with it. All right, John. I'll box it up and drop it in the mail. Let's see here. Hey, Danny, what's up? Man, don't ever apologize for that. Life comes first, dude. These live streams are that's fun time. You got work to do, so don't ever apologize. The Ferrari should qualify, or at least it did last year. Bruce told me it didn't, and that's okay because I've got a GT car, but I really want one of those new Mercedes that are coming out, the Warstein. I forget what the name of that is. The livery, the black with the white in the middle. Oh gosh, that thing looks good. So it just gave me an excuse to buy another Revo slot, I guess. Daryl, I'm not sure what you have prepped and ready. Thanks, John. Jamie B, 962 wins. That's a great livery. The win livery is it stands out on the track, that purple and orange. And new to me, Camel Porsche. Ooh, nice. The Group 5 will be a Ford Capri Miller High Life. Nice. That's a great one. I would like to pick up another sideways, and it's probably the Ford, the Capri. I really like the worst, the either the white or the black livery, but the worst livery is great. Love those cars. They look good. Daryl, you got the 956 or 962, and your pink pig. You and Dusty will be matching pink pigs out there in the Group 5, or your 512 Ferrari. I've driven the 512 BB, and that's a really good car. John Mark has one. He has this livery. It seemed long to me. So if you've got the tail happiness worked out of it, I think you'll be good because it was quick. This is John Mark's. It is the Castrol Skyline, new in box. I don't think he's ran any laps with it, but this will be my job to tune this. So I don't know if John Mark's on here tonight. He's probably feeling pretty rough, but I'll get to that tuning this week, John Mark. I think I've got tires for it. I think we're ready. I just need to get some laps and get it broke in for you. Go with the C7 for digital 124. Easy to make, fast. Only downside is that there will be a lot of them. Yeah, well, that's because they are the fast car, right? Jamie, a few other people have said the C7. I think George likes the C7 as well in the 124. He actually sent his to me, and somewhere in shipping it back to him, we've lost the wing. I've lost the wing, so I can't find it here, and I know it was on the car when I shipped it and wrapped it up. So at least I thought. But yeah, the C7 is pretty sweet. There's just not a lot of livery choices, I don't think. So that's what you run into. Yep. Good to have Danny here. Yeah, Danny's been sharing some of his stuff in a group chat. He's got the collection is growing, let's just say. Mine will be the slow pink pig, the Lancia. Yeah, John Mark has the Lancia Stratos, and that he has the Gulf livery. Daryl tuned that one up. That's a great car. My Porsches have been my fastest Revo slot cars. Dusty's got the 911 GT2, and I've just got the 911 GT3 car. And mine's not quite as fast. I really need to spend some time with it, but I've got a month. I'm going to worry about my Group 5 and my Group C cars first. I have a D24 C6 test car that is faster than my C7. That's cool. I'll see what I can find out there, Greg. Scott, you bought which GT? Oh no, you mean the digital 124? No, I think you're good with the GT. John Mark's GT is pretty quick, so I think you're good. Hey Tim, good to have you, man. Welcome. Daryl, like always, will have plenty of cars to pick from. He always brings lots of loaners and supplies lots of people with cars, and they usually race really well with them. Another sideways Group 5 car that shouldn't be overlooked is the BMW 320. I think Dusty may have ordered that car in the Fruit of a Loom today, but I'll let him share that. He already did. Hey Nick, welcome, man. Hope you're doing well. Yeah, you're okay with the GT. Yeah, it's a good choice. No. My DTM car is a dog, but that's all right. My fastest car is my Mercedes CLK, according to Steve. That's what I really like, that new livery. Which one? Let me pull it up here. And do I have it already up? Already have it up? Arrivals, Revo slot. Oh, wait. It's a pre-order. It's starting to show up for people in Australia and the UK. I got a message from somebody today that got one in the UK, which is pre-orders. There we go. So let me throw this up. Revo slot, pre-order. Okay. So the C5s are going to be super popular. This might be one that Steve is running the Nissan R89 for Group C and the M1 for Group 5. Nice. Steve, I'm glad you got your M1 to run. Mine's a mess. Maybe I need to look at yours and how you tuned it. But I can't keep it in the slot. I don't understand it. There you go, 3 rooms right away. Aussie. I could nickname it the Penny Trailer. Only my brother. Dusty Ford, everyone. The new liveries will hit at the end of the month. That's what I was bringing up, except for the fact that I was going to show this off. This car is sweet, and I've spent the last week with where'd it go? There we go. I spent the last week tuning on the Alpha, but man, that car is awesome. The Opel Kadett. Okay, pre-orders. I got sidetracked. Let's do this. Yeah, this livery right here is fantastic. Let's see here, Josh. Eliminate. Yeah, the C5s are going to be really, really popular. But, I mean, come on. Look at that car. Gosh, that's a good-looking car. Yeah, so I'm all over that car until I look at this car. And then I'm like, okay, I could be tempted. I could be tempted with that. That's a great looking car. Great looking car. So, looks like there'll be a new Revo slot in my future. Just so I can backfill, make sure that I've got a backup car. Yeah, Tim, that Opel is really, really pretty cool. I love the color. But that's really Dusty's color. I won't steal that from him, even though John Mark beat him to the punch with the Jägermeister. The Jägermeister Corvette, is that a NSR or Revo slot? It's an NSR. That is a good-looking car, too. So I don't know if anybody saw that. That hasn't released yet. But the Opel, yeah, the Opel is pretty cool. I just got an AFX track from 1978 working. I had no clue if it would work. I forgot about that smell. Yeah, Johnny Pro, those HO motors, they have a smell to them, don't they? And the oil. Yeah, that's good stuff. Tim, get them both. I might have to. Although you guys know I'm a frugal guy. Like making a decision about a slot car. I can make big decisions at work without even blinking an eye. But spending my money on a slot car, it takes me forever because I can't choose. I'm indecisive when it comes to things like that. The HO ozone smell is permanently burned into most slot car fanatics' brains. Yep. I've already paid for number 3 C5 from Bruce. Had to have one. Hang on. Which one was it? The number 5? number 3, which is number 3. This one right here. Oh yeah, that's Jamie. That is a. Let me throw that up on the screen. That's a good looking car. Oh yeah. Yeah, I think these will be very, very popular Revo slots. I thought it was very interesting that they decided to bring out a C5, right? But I mean, they're building that GT class, I think, and which is probably why Bruce is racing it this year, the Revo slot GT specifically, it's because there's a lot of choices, which is great. So, and I hope it's a fast car because it sure looks good. It definitely looks good. So, yeah, that's great. Hopefully they come in soon before we run Revo slot GT. Jamie is a Corvette magnet. He likes Corvettes. Jamie would have liked my dad's Corvette. My dad had a Z06 for a while. Dusty helped me out. Was that 2013? Electric blue. That car was wild. I only drove it one time. It was the only time I ever drove. There's more C5 liveries coming, more than what they've posted here on LEB. There's 1, 2, 3. There's a white kit. There's the 2003 number 50 Le Mans, which is the blue, and then the 2000, the number 3 and number 64, which are matching liveries. That's awesome, Dave. Yeah, I think it was a great choice for them. It like I said, it surprised me when you made the announcement that they were releasing C5s. I was like, why C5s? Why not a C8 in a Revo slot? Holy cow. That would be awesome. But really cool that we're getting C5s. Will the Viper pass as a GT car? Yes. It ran in GT class. So, Scott, you're good with your Viper. Pre-order the C5 set. Yes, I'm card carrying Revos. John, you love that we coined that, right? That I'll have Raul make you a shirt. The Opel C Coupe was a legend here in Germany in the 80s. A friend had it and let me drive it a few times. It was the only Opel you ever liked. That's cool, Bo. Yeah, the Opels are great. Going to that, not to get off the subject, but we might as well. The Group 2 cars, Dusty and I got them tuned up, and Dusty has the Escort, and this is the Alpha, and then I tuned John Mark's his BMW. And these all have the 9-tooth pinion, which is a little small on my track. About halfway down the straight, the big straight here in the back, they're at top speed. And so I think we could probably go to a 10-tooth or even 11-tooth and get a little quicker on this track. But Dusty and I ran for like 10 minutes and could not get away from each other. They were so competitive. We were right there neck and neck, trading back and forth the lead. They do a nice job of staying in the slot. We put the wood guide. I'd recommend the wood guide for Carrera. Good cars, man, and they are a blast to drive. Really fun to throw around in the turns. We got them tuned pretty good. They don't drift a whole lot. They get good traction. Fun cars. So if you don't have one, check them out. They're great. But they are super competitive against each other. So, I mean, we were neck and neck, and just I couldn't pull away from him. He couldn't pull away from me. After 10, 15 minutes, we were still on the same lap. We weren't racing per se. We were just having fun. But like, I couldn't. Usually, somebody has a car that will pull away from everybody else, and just gradually get ahead of them, and all of a sudden, you find yourself a lap down over a 5-minute race. But like for 10 solid minutes, we lapped these cars and we just couldn't get away from each other. They are very, very competitive. Yeah, Dave, you're right. There are so many of the C5 liveries, um, which is great. I mean, that's what we want, right? We want them to, if they make the investment on the mold, we want them to be able to take full advantage of it. So good for them for doing the C5. It'll be a great car. Pat, wow, when you guys talk cars like this, it's another language to me, but I'm watching and learning. So Pat, like I don't, not to, like what is it that's confusing about it? Just the knowledge of this is all, we all shop online and look at cars and buy cars and that's how we learn. So don't feel left out. You'll get there soon enough. I didn't know anything 18 months ago. Zero. I was playing with a starter set on the floor in here on this basement, and I went from 0 to 100 mile an hour overnight. So, yep. They are all evenly matched. That's what makes them fun. Yeah, George, I am so looking forward to, I'm so glad that Bruce added this class. In February, we'll be running the Group 2 Revo slots. And so hopefully by then, there's actually, maybe we'll get a 510 Datsun to jump in here in that platform. Gosh, that'd be so much fun. But yeah, they're so evenly matched that it will be just a fun class. And it will truly come down to how good are you at driving. Which, that's why I'll be in last place. Yeah, Curvy, you're right. Pat, show me. You guys just ask questions, man. That's how you learn. That's how you grow. So here's what I've learned. I have yet to meet somebody in this slot car community that was not willing to answer my question. Dave Kennedy, who's on here early on, I was like, "Hey, Dave, got some questions." He answered him in his live stream, like just super helpful. And Massimo and Raul and George, all those guys, super helpful. Harry, super helpful. I need to come up with a different adverb. Everybody that I've met so far is willing to help people. And I think that's what's different than a lot of the other hobbies that I've been in my entire life. That's what surprised me. Anytime you're racing and could be competitive, typically people they'll help you a little bit, but then they won't tell you everything, right? And so then you're on the track and you're wondering why your car doesn't do what everybody else's is doing. It's because they didn't tell you everything. And Daryl, the first week, was like, "Hey, here's what's wrong with your car. Try this, try this, try this, try this." John Albright, "Hey, I was watching you race on the on the live stream, and your car was doing this. Try this. See if that takes some of the tail happiness out. Put tape on your little, all kinds of hints." That's what's been great about this community, and it's why there are lots of people who create content because they want to help. I mean, it's why I'm doing this. It gives people every Tuesday. You have questions from the weekend, and you're like, "I can't get this car to work. What is up?" You can throw those questions out here, and we'll answer them. So I'll get off my soapbox, but that it is one of the things that I truly love about this YouTube channel and the community that's being built around my channel and lots of other people's channels, and how they're all working for one good. They're all working towards the same goal. We want people to enjoy and maximize their joy in this hobby. So ask away. The Opel GT was a legend. It was a pendant to the Corvette C3. You had to push a shifter to move the lights open up. You can recognize the drivers having a bigger right bicep. Bo, that's great. I had a problem with my BRM Camaro on my career track. Not good times at all. I've not played with the BRM Camaros or anything like that. The only BRM I have is the 124 Group C car, which is an awesome car, and it runs really well on my track. Daryl, that would be awesome. Bruce would do a Group 2 race on his 4-lane home track. Yeah, me too, man. Me too. Somebody needs to plant that seed on Bruce. Hey, Bruce, we need to have a Group 2 race on your track at home. Tom, right. Tom is learning. Tom asks questions, not afraid to ask questions. It's great. And I think we're finding that out at a lot of the club tracks too. Commercial tracks were famous for not being nice to people. And I think club tracks have changed that. And home tracks definitely have changed that when guys just ask their friends to come over. What does it hurt to help people get better? Everybody wants a competitive race. I want my brother and John Mark and Josh and Daryl. And anybody who comes to my layout running fast. I mean, I love to see people break the track record, right? So the only way they get that is if I say, hey, my cars on this track and this layout, the way it's laid out, tend to do this. And so if you do this, you might pick up a 10th through the S's, or, that's what it's all about. Daryl Rogers, some of them came through with 10 and 12s. The 12s were a mistake as they installed a batch of motors from bigger cars. Oh, you're talking about the group. Yeah, so their LEB has on their site that some of them shipped with a 13-tooth pinion, which is a really tall gear for this car, I would say, and would probably be great on a big wood track. But it's probably way too much gear for my track. I'm going to do some testing. I'm going to try, this has got a 9-tooth. I'm going to try a 10 and an 11 and look at the lap times. But whatever I choose, I want to make sure that everybody else is running the same thing, because I want them to be not necessarily a spec class, but I want them to be competitive. I want us to have fun races on the layout. So, yeah, thanks, John, for that. I think part of it is that I just love digital right now, so I get a little lost when cars are more sophisticated than digital models. Pat, that's okay. I mean, that's where I started. Everybody starts someplace. We still love digital. We've just gotten hooked on some of these other brands and some of these other cars. And I say we, my brother and John Mark and I, because we've gotten into tuning. And we know that there's not a lot of tuning you can do with the Carrera cars. There's some, but there are things that you can do to these cars that you can't do to a Carrera car. A sideways car is a lot of tuning can happen, a lot of possibilities. You can adjust the front ride height. You can you can change the height of the guide. For a Carrera car, truing the front tires down is the only way you can get the nose of a car down. Just because of how the guide snaps in, and it is what it is. But don't discount digital. Digital is a blast. I mean, what my challenge to my brother and John Mark, I'm like, I want to chip these things and race these digital, because what happens on my track with digital cars, Dusty brings out his Pink Pig Porsche, it wipes everybody off the track. Nobody can keep up with that car. The only car that's close is my Porsche 917K, and Dusty can still get me with that. And so that's fine. But it seems like the Carrera car, between one car and another, the disparity is big. And with these cars you can tune, you can bring them down a little closer to perform. So it's more about your driving skill. And with digital, though, you add strategy of pits and taking in fuel and all those things. And if you notice at Cincy Slots, we do analog first race, and then the second race is digital. So because we all still love it. So yeah, don't feel bad, man. If we start talking over your head, just say ho ho ho. Ask the question. It's all good. My first question was about magnets or no magnets. That's the question that happens in every live stream, and it's okay. We run both. In our analog cars, we run no mag. In our digital cars, we usually run a little bit of magnet, mainly because you've got pit stops and things, and the pits, getting into the pits is pretty sharp turn, so it upsets cars a lot, pretty easy. So yeah, we're not afraid of either. Alan at 132 Slot Car is the U.S. distributor. The info came direct from him. That's cool. Pat, all the guys in here are awesome. Thanks, Tom. We try to be. We run both in Dayton. Very good. Opal also had the Manta, also cult here and there. It was a movie called Manta, which was a big yeah, those drivers always had foxtail on their key clip or Manta on the antenna. Yeah. I'm about done with the Camaro Z28, and I'm going to set my track up. Excellent. That's great. Gary, I know you've been working on that one for a little bit. I know I always wanted a Porsche and have never loved the Corvettes I've actually been in. Plus, I don't own any white New Balance shoes and knee-high socks. That's great. Oh, man. Yeah, don't forget about the jean shorts. That's good. If I help people to get better, then I have better competition in racing, and it makes the hobby more enjoyable. Yeah, Josh. I didn't find that in RC cars. It got to a point where it wasn't that much fun, unless I was racing with Dusty and my Uncle Andy and my dad. We had fun, but when we was racing against a bunch of other people, they were starting to suck the fun out of it. And I'm sure you can find that in slot car racing too. I'm not naive to that fact, but we're not seeing that in the community. I think a lot of people got tired of that and are changing their culture that they're a part of. So, I mean, I had a conversation with Bruce, just texting back and forth, and he said that last year was one of his favorite seasons, just because of the group of guys that were showing up every week. Just made it a lot of fun, and he really looked forward to it. And for the first time, he was missing racing midway through the summer. And I've had that conversation with a handful of people just at Cincy Slots alone. So, good stuff. Oh, man. Yeah, wild man. I mean, listen, everybody likes to win. Nobody wants to finish last. But you can always learn, right? And so, like, that's how I approach anytime I go racing. It's competitive. I know that I'm not going to win. I just go in and try to do my best, and I always try to learn something and like get better. And if I can see an improvement from lap 1 to lap whatever, that's what I'm after. And you keep at it. That's what happens. You just get better. You learn and you grow. Show Me Slaughter is a great video on chipping a Revo. Yes. Definitely. The nice thing about full-size Revos, I already have one apart. Full-size Revo slots. Take the body off. On the chassis, there's a little hole right there. You can see it to the left of the weight. And why I have weight in this, I have no idea. I need to retune this thing. It doesn't need weight. That hole is for the LED. So the chassis in the full size are already drilled. Already have a hole drilled for that. And you know what? I think maybe I'd have to measure the hole. There's already a hole in the group 2. I'll have to measure, but there's a hole there. It just seems awfully wide, but it's such a narrow. might line up. No, I don't think it does line up. Yeah, you'd have to drill it in the Group 2 cars. But, yeah, most of the Revo slot, full-size cars, I say full-size, the non-Group 2 cars, they are ready to roll with a hole already for the LED, for the diode. So, good stuff. Yeah, let's see, what am I missing? Marty, what happened to your 908 Porsche? So what happened to my 908 Porsche is this is my favorite car. Dave Kennedy knows I love this car. And it's beat all to heck. All of the engine parts are gone because my brother rear-ended me all the time. No, we chipped this. I put a chip in it and raced it digital. And different things happen to a car when you're running digital. You're in the same lane. There are rear-end accidents. There are, if you're running a little bit of magnet, cars, when they come out of the track, they go off the track. And so that's what happened. It just got beat up. I still love it though, Tim. It's a great car. Let's see. We had Group 2 on the track Sunday, and they were almost identical. Yeah, they are so close. So close. I want to go down to the final lap sweating to get the win. A lot more fun. Yeah, Wild Man, I like look back at the USA Nationals. There was really two guys at the end, and they're like less than a lap apart after however many, six. So that's a 6-lane track. So after 6 races, they're half a lap apart. That's pretty good driving. And that's where we all want to get, right? Let's see. Where's the mullet? That's good. That's good stuff. I usually loan out my faster cars, so I have to work hard to keep up. I didn't find that in racing RCs either for large group events RC-wise. Crawlers seem to be the way to go for group like slot car racing. Yeah, Josh, it's funny. Like crawling has really gotten big here in Chillicothe at our hobby shop. He mostly sells. He was a Carrera dealer for a number of years, and in the middle of the pandemic, he didn't get his Carrera order, and he got mad, and he dumped everything. He said the only time he sold stuff was at Christmas time, which I get that for a hobby shop, but I don't know. I feel like the slot car culture would be a little different in Chillicothe now. There's this group of guys on 4th Street that have this track down in the basement. They make a little bit of noise. So that's cool. That's good to see. Open invite to the Viper Pit in Thomasville. Slot car. If we make it down to Florida, we'll drive down through there. I'll have to plan that drive and make sure that we stop in. You're supposed to give me the turds, Daryl. Yeah, Josh, I heard you won with one of Daryl's cars this weekend at Bernie's. That's awesome. Better drivers sometimes should be handicapped. That's the one thing you can do with digital racing is you can, that's what I used to do with the Porsche 917 before everybody else got faster cars than that. I would throttle it down a little bit so that it ran a little closer to be more competitive. So with digital racing, you can do that. And I guess you could with analog racing if you have a different power supply for each lane. You could pull the power down on somebody that was super fast. But, sometimes I learn when I'm in a lane next to somebody who's a really good driver because I find that I start copying their brake points because I can visually see when I'm getting on the brakes too early, when I'm over accelerating, where I'm losing time. And Bruce hates it when I'm in the lane next to him, but I run my fastest laps when I'm right next to him or when I'm next to Josh or when I'm next to Daryl or Steve. Although Steve always knocks me out of the lane in Digital 124. Wait, maybe it's the other way around. I knock Steve out of the lane. But I always like it really is fun to race next to somebody who's really fast because you can learn so much. So you just kind of follow them around and try to keep up, and they'll teach you the fastest way around the track. So, did you find the notch in the G2s? That's what it's for. So, there's 2 holes on each side, but I feel like they're a little far from the sensor. But I'll get the calipers out and measure. But I'll check on that, Eric. I will look at that and make sure that that's what that's for. But yeah, I really want to get them digital, chipped, so we can run them digital. That'd be fun. Gosh, guys, it's 9:49. I went way over. Dusty's heard that his whole life, George. That's funny. All right, guys, I'm going to wrap things up. This has been fun. I don't know that we accomplished a dang thing tonight, but it's been fun. It's good to see what guys would be running in those classes. Now I know what my competition. It was all about finding out what Steve was going to run. I'm joking. It'll be fun. We'll have a great time. Chris, NSR makes a replacement parts for your NSR 908 part number. Look at that, Chris, taking care of me. I can get my 908 back in good running order. It's a quick car. I love to drive that thing. So I will order that kit and get this thing back in business, because I don't think Bruce would let me run this because it's missing too much. So anyway, since he slots Josh, not me, I couldn't make it this time. Let's see. I do RCS2, but a good crawler ends up costing $1,000 when you start upgrading it. I'm sure, Rob. I mean, that was the other thing why I got out of RC cars is every year I was having to buy, and I was going to have to buy a new car just to stay competitive, and that was getting too much. Raul. Did Raul make it? Greg, pacing you. I wasn't passing you. I was pacing you, but I wasn't passing you. Actually, I don't think we raced together except for in practice. I wasn't in the fast kid. I wasn't with the fast kids. I was at the little kids table in the little kids heat. Dusty will break it again. That's great. Wish we could have done it more for. That's good. Rubbin is racing. Not if you install a piano wire and Nerf bar in the back. I might have to, John. All right, guys, I'm going to wrap things up. We could be here all night, and that's okay. So don't forget about Roast Coffee. If you want some Roast Coffee, they'll take care of you. Go to roastcoffee.com, use 2 lines, and you will get a discount. And there's a lot of you who have got a coffee subscription, and I can't thank you enough for supporting Trent. By supporting Trent, you support my channel, and that's just amazing to me. And you get something great out of it. You get really good coffee. So, by all means, coffee. So yeah, give me a coffee in the chat, and we'll call it a week, guys. And thanks for hanging out tonight. This has been fun. Really enjoy it. I'm sure somebody will post that this was boring content, and they don't know what fun is. So go have some fun racing, guys. Thanks.